I don't think I ever really appreciated the character that is Batman before until recently. Batman always seemed lame or boring and powerless compared to other superheroes. Even though heroes like Star-Lord, Rocket, Ant-Man, Black Widow, etc. were powerless as well, they were just in powerful suits or had high-tech gadgets to make them seem stronger, like Quill, flying, and stuff like that. But now that I'm older and finally watched a couple of the movies, that being The Batman and Batman 1989, bits and pieces of The Dark Knight, and played some of Arkham Knight and City, I now finally appreciate the character that is the Dark Knight. So let's talk about a few aspects of the character I'd like to look into. Batman's power issue. For a person that fights and has to deal with so many city-level threats with no superpowers is extremely impressive, and it's displayed in a believable way as well. Batman, though he has no powers, is incredibly smart. It's stated in the comics to have stats like a 1,000-pound bench, a deadlift that's around 800 to 1,000 pounds, and a squat that's around 855 pounds. His IQ stands strong at least 192 minimum. Batman doesn't just have basically superhuman stats, but also a plethora of very high-tech gadgets and armor, as you know. His suit is bulletproof, and his technical skills with his weapons is ninja-like. He knows countless martial arts, some sources saying they are judo, karate, kung fu, krav maga, boxing, muay thai, aikido, taekwondo, and more. On top of all that, he's rich.
I'm rich.
With a net worth of around $100 billion according to some sources, though it does vary. His suit. Now let's talk about his suit. If Iron Man can get away with a strong suit and no powers, and basically everyone else can as well, like Falcon and War Machine, etc., then there's no reason why it's different for Batman. His suit has a plethora of different abilities, including it being bulletproof, offering superhuman resistance to attacks. It has flexible armor. Besides for him, he could glide from very high distances with his cape, which is also bulletproof, and also use his utility belt to store his high-level stealth and other types of weapons. The suit is made of Nomex, Kevlar, carbon fiber, including but not limited to in certain iterations, making it fireproof as well. All of this coupled with his multi-billion-dollar net worth, his incredible IQ and strength feats, making him almost superhuman. Character himself. Now let's talk about his character itself, primarily in the movies, and why he's an overall great character. Now I'll be honest, besides for seeing bits and pieces of The Dark Knight and Batman and Robin, I really only watched The Batman and Batman 1989. I also seen most of the Batman scenes in the Flash movie, basically all the movies Batfleck was in as well. So I'll be judging off of what I've seen so far, primarily the different versions of Batman and their pros / how different actors depicted the Caped Crusader. Michael Keaton's Batman was obviously one of the best Batman incarnations of all time, period. It's funny and really interesting because there seems to be a trend with Batman actors and getting initial hate from fans, mainly because they didn't think the actors could portray the character correctly. And in retrospect, that's one of the best things about Batman. He could be portrayed in so many different lights, and they all end up still being just dark enough to encapsulate the Dark Knight just right in all the potential of the character. For instance, going back to Keaton, he was more of a stoic yet brave, very experienced Batman. He had so much seasoned experience in his fights, and of course, that's shown so much in the Flash movie. Keaton seemed very knowledgeable and capable of tough situations, while also having a good use of his martial arts experience as well as his fighting skills. While he didn't look too much like Bruce Wayne in the comics or have much of a physique or stature of him, he still did an amazing spin of the character. I remember seeing on YouTube a while ago that people were voicing their opinions on Keaton being the next Batman, and they didn't like him, as stated earlier, saying he wasn't tall or good looking enough or big enough. Then he became one of the best Batman actors of all time. Going on to Batfleck, physically he was one of the closest, if not the closest looking Bruce Wayne of all time. He relied more on his tech and brute strength than his brains and IQ, or at least we didn't see much of his detective side. I didn't watch the Snyder cut of Justice League, so maybe it's shown there, but I think that's what was missing from his portrayal of Batman. That and the stealth aspect too. Now moving on to the Batman. I think this was one of the best, if not the best superhero movie of this decade so far. The vibe / aesthetic of the movie, the pacing, the CGI, and overall graphics / quality were amazing in my opinion. Robert Pattinson really nailed who Batman is. His detective side, his martial arts, his darkness, and vengeance aspect, all coming together greatly, and not one too much more than the other, outshining other parts of the character. Though his Bruce Wayne didn't really encapsulate Bruce Wayne himself too much, he was still probably trying to juggle being Batman with his normal life as a year one Batman at that point. Now I know I didn't talk about The Dark Knight, but I really didn't see much other than some clips and training montages. But based off of what I've seen, Christian Bale is still an amazing Batman and definitely a really good Bruce Wayne, which most of these people actually didn't really do as well as him. He got the rich, kind of douchey side of the Bruce Wayne character down perfectly. The character of Bruce Wayne. Now this segment is going to be much shorter, so let's get into it. Bruce Wayne as a character and how he plays two completely different, not just lives, personalities as a whole, something that most superheroes don't do. Like maybe Peter Parker would be a bit more nerdy than Spider-Man, or Clark Kent a bit more strong in his attitude as Superman. But Bruce Wayne is a complete 180 compared to Batman. Rich, boastful, lustful, and charismatic, opposed to the dark, mean, and on-edge Batman. That's what's so interesting about Bruce, is that you realistically never expect him to be Batman, ever. Selfless and even without powers, still fighting really strong opponents. Because that's the thing about Batman. He's actually, besides for the suit and weapons, not much stronger than Bruce Wayne because he has no powers at all. Conclusion. That's what makes Batman so special, is that he's just a guy who built himself brick by brick into a peak human state, able to compete with city-level threats all the time. Of course, it's easy for Superman to be brave, or Thor, because they're basically invincible compared to street-level bad guys. Batman still tussles with really big enemies, having no powers in a pretty realistic way as well. That is why I now appreciate Batman.